She'd just eaten a shoulder from Ryan Howard at half court, tossed up a sarcastic thumbs up, and jogged away with a smirk that barely masked the fact she was gutting through a low-grade stomach bug. Her legs felt like they'd been dipped in concrete, but she wasn't coming out. Not yet. The Atlanta Dream thought they had their formula. They believed the firestorm was over. They were wrong, because if there's one thing louder than a Caitlin Clark hot streak, it's the echo of underestimating her. The buildup had been brewing. Just 3 days earlier, Clark had headlined a thunderous showdown with Angel Reese, a game that drew a staggering 2.7 million viewers, ESPN's highest for a WNBA regular season game in 25 years. Coaches whispered the new strategy for WNBA fame: stop Clark once, and you live forever in viral glory. Atlanta handed that mission to Ryan Howard, the 2022 Rookie of the Year. Her playbook? Hands full of jersey, elbows on every screen, trash. Talk on every dead ball. The opening act: a mid-court jersey tug, ignored by the refs, followed by Clark's now iconic exaggerated thumbs up, a moment that caught fire online before the next possession even started. But Howard wasn't after retweets. She wanted control. For 6 minutes, she got it. The Fever offense sputtered. Clark was isolated, marooned outside the arc with no air to breathe. Atlanta surged to a 9-point lead, and State Farm Arena buzzed with possibility. Had someone finally solved the Caitlin Clark equation? Turns out, Fever head coach Stephanie White had already crumpled that blueprint and aimed it straight back at them. Replays later showed Howard grabbed Clark's jersey at least 4 times. None called. Analyst Ryan Clark unloaded on the officiating, calling it dangerously negligent as slow-motion footage of Howard yanking Clark's arm rolled behind him on national TV. Freeze frames, bruises, and outrage swept across sports timelines. Even for a league that embraces physicality, this felt different. This felt personal. Clark's response? Not a tantrum. A tactic. She slowed down the game, widened her dribbles, let defenders lunge, then knifed past them. Her shots weren't falling, so she weaponized her vision, slicing a lefty bounce pass through a double team to Natasha Howard for a layup and chirping, "Try grabbing that." That's when Atlanta's grip started to loosen. Still, Howard wasn't done. She threw a forearm into Clark's ribs, shoved after the whistle. The rookie didn't flinch, just glared and muttered a line barely picked up by the courtside mics. "I'm not scared of you." Within an hour, it was a headline on every sports ticker from Indiana to India, but Coach White had already pulled her next lever. She swapped the starters for speed. In came Sophie Cunningham, just days removed from an ankle injury, and sharpshooter, Lexi Hull. With Kelsey Mitchell streaking to corners and Clark orchestrating the chaos, Atlanta's defense fell apart. Hull curled off a screen, swish. Cunningham slipped backdoor, layup. Mitchell caught a Clark skip pass in the corner, cash. In just 4 possessions, the Fever sliced the lead from 9-1. The crowd hushed. The Dream bench shifted nervously. With that quartet on the floor, Indiana scorched Atlanta at 147 points per possession, nearly double their earlier pace. Clark still couldn't buy a bucket, but she was painting the game in dimes. 11 assists would come by the final horn. But in that stretch, she made defenders chase shadows and made Howard keep fouling. Finally, a whistle came, just a common foul. But the arena booed, not for Clark, but for the call's delay. The tension was boiling. Clark's first half stat: line, 3 points. 1 made shot, no threes. The worst of her rookie campaign. Just leaned into her teammate and whispered, "They think I'm tired. Let's sprint them to death." And they did. While WNBA League Pass crossed 800,000 concurrent viewers, an unheard-of Thursday number, ESPN cut into national programming with a live look-in. Social feeds pulsed with clips of Clark's thumbs up, her not-scared glare, and Howard's smack talk. The game trended #1 on X, Cunningham noticed the shift first. She nudged Clark. "She's rattled." Next trip down, Sophie blew by Howard, pounded her chest. Mitchell hit a deep three and yelled, "Boom!" But the dream hung on. Howard punched in two mid-range jumpers and threw pointed fingers at the Fever bench. Then came the third-quarter flashpoint. Another Howard shove, again no flagrant. Clark just brushed imaginary dust from her jersey and winked at a courtside fan. But sound without substance fades, and the fourth quarter would decide who could close. Clark opened it down 3, but burning with that quiet fire shooters wear, before they explode. She ran a split screen for Hull, bucket, then faked a handoff, darted baseline, kicked to Cunningham, corner money. Fever took the lead. Howard answered, deep triple, scream, stomp. Clark nodded in respect, then drew a foul from 30 feet and sank both. Tied at 72, Cunningham took over next. She jumped a lane, got fouled, shrugged at a travel. Then ripped a rebound, went coast to coast, sliced 2 defenders and flicked in a layup. Fever by 4. 1:41 left. Timeout, Atlanta. Howard looked lost in the huddle. Clark, unshaken, leaned in. Swiss bank pass on 3. Secure, reliable. Golden. Teammates laughed. The nerves broke. With the game tied at 75, Clark snaked a screen, drew 3 defenders, lasered a skip to Mitchell, splash. Fever by 2. Then another miss from Atlanta. Rebound Hull. Fever milked the clock. 18 seconds. Clark crossed over, hesitated, baited Howard into a reach. Whistle. 2 free throws, both good. Fever by 4. Final possession, a desperate Atlanta heave. Clanged off the rim. Cunningham soared, yanked down the rebound, and clutched the win. Fever 81, Dream 76. But the score couldn't begin to tell the story. Afterward, rumors flew. League sources said the WNBA was reviewing Howard's repeated contact for potential fines. Reporters added that Clark had played the full 36 minutes on nothing but electrolytes and defiance. No official confirmations, but insiders expect clarity before tomorrow's tip-off at Madison Square Garden. Meanwhile, ESPN issued a giddy press release touting their surging ratings, highlighting the Reese Games' 2.7 million and a 115% YOY increase. A quiet clause was added to their June slate. Every Fever versus Dream matchup was now eligible for prime time. Inside the Fever locker room, Clark iced her knees. Cunningham winced through shoulder soreness. Hull FaceTimed her family. Stephanie White glanced at the stat sheet, 11 assists, 4 turnovers, +7, then cracked a smile and said, "That was a bad night." Everyone laughed, because they understood what that really meant. Tomorrow, they faced the defending champion Liberty. Sabrina Ionescu tweeted just an hour after the final horn, "See you soon, Rook." Fire emojis followed, because if a stomach, bug, a wrestling match, and the worst officiating of the young season couldn't stop Caitlin Clark. What can? Atlanta tried everything: jersey tugs, body checks, big talk. All they earned was a viral thumbs up, a 5-point loss, and a front-row seat to the most-watched rise in women's sports. And this was only Game 3. Somewhere in New York, a scouting report just went up in smoke.